There is no question that the ZS or ZS is what made MG's name in the Philippine market. But now they've got a new generation. Will this one have the same impact? Let's find out. Hey everybody, Vince here from AutoIndustriya, and we've got the new generation ZS or ZS for you today. And the one we've got, this is the Hybrid Plus variant. Yes, they will offer the Hybrid Plus. There will be no more of the EV. You will only get 3 versions, or at least 3 different types of engines. More on that later. Now the ZS, like I mentioned, this is what made MG's name in the market. Because when they launched it in 2018, it sold very, very well, catapulting MG into the top 10 almost immediately. Well, not maybe about after a year, but still very short amount of time before MG was able to claim some real success in our market. Before that, Chinese cars were not really paid much attention to, at least when it came to the sales numbers. MG, being a SAIC-owned brand, was able to do that. Now, MG, of course, is a British brand originally, but it has been acquired by SAIC. And they've been using the MG brand to market all around the world with quite a bit of success, especially with the ZS, with the MG1, with the MG4, and a lot of these other very affordable vehicles that come at very good prices with a lot of kit. But now, this new generation model, well, they're trying something different. They've got several engine choices, like I mentioned. They have a naturally aspirated 1.5. They also have a turbocharged model, and then they have the Hybrid Plus variant. Now, what we want to find out is whether the hybrid is going to be the right version for our market and for you. So I'm a Navara driver, so you tell me what you think of the look of the vehicle. Because personally, I think it's a bit too busy. The way they do the front, yes, they do have that wide grille, but that is it's like a grill with an echo kind of thing, which may look futuristic, but it's up to you whether you prefer that kind of design. You do have the LED projector headlights there, which do look good, and these are, you're able to adjust the leveling of these depending on what kind of driving you're doing or where you're driving. Now, MG logo prominently placed here. Of course, MG being the British brand, it's got the octagon logo. But before anything, let me pop the hood and show you what's underneath. So, MG went for 3 different types of power units for the ZS. So you have the 1.5 liter non-turbo, then you have the turbo 1 point something else, and then you have this, which is the 1.5 liter non-turbo hybrid system. So you got a 1.5 liter engine there. It's a 4-cylinder. Then you've got the hybrid system right here. It's a front-wheel drive, which also has a 3-speed drive ratio transmission thing that they've got going on. So it's quite different than compared to a lot of the other hybrids from other brands that we have tried. So in terms of power, the engine itself makes about 102. The motor, it makes 100 kilowatts with 250 Newton meters of torque, which is going to be key because the torque of the motor is going to carry you through a lot of the low-speed driving, and this one has quite a bit. Hey guys, Vince here from the not too distant future after filming that video, and I wanted to chime in to address some changes that happened since we filmed that video. Now, originally, the vehicle we drove is the Hybrid Plus. We knew it already wasn't going to be a full-on Philippine spec, but the powertrain was supposed to be the same. But now it seems that has changed, and some are very fundamental changes. So for one, the battery pack has changed. So the battery pack, instead of an LFP or LiFePO4 or lithium iron phosphate, that battery, it's now an NCM or NMC, same thing, meaning nickel, manganese, cobalt. I don't know. I'm sure my more EV inclined friends are gonna say exactly what that is, but that represents a fundamental change in the technology of the vehicle. But more importantly, the overall power has changed for the vehicle. What they're quoting before was 231. Now they're quoting 197. So now it kind of throws away like a lot of the things that I felt about the vehicle. I'm not even sure if they made a mistake before or they're correcting it now, or who knows? It feels like things are all up in the air with whatever MG was doing, and it has me a bit confused. I just wanted to address that. So moving forward, anything I say from here on out may or may not be accurate, which kind of sucks because I really take pride in trying to be as accurate, especially with the driving feel, as much as possible. So keep that in mind. But there's another thing with the pricing, but we'll talk about that later. So back to you, past Vince. In terms of combined power, it's also impressive. It's got 231. That's a lot for a vehicle of this size. It almost makes me wish that they had an all-wheel drive version. That would have been fun, but there's no all-wheel drive version of the ZS, not that I know of in any other market. You let me know in the comments below if you know of any. But as you can see, there's quite a bit of space in the engine bay. The vehicle itself is actually longer. So it's actually longer by about 4 inches compared to the previous generation of the ZS. And yeah, it's longer overall. And you can see it when you look at it from the side. So come on, I'll go around that way and you can see what's different with the vehicle. Yes, it's got longer by about 4 inches, and the wheelbase also been stretched by about 1 inch. The wheels, these are 18s. It's got the GITI tires on there. It doesn't have any chrome, which is kind of surprising. They didn't go for chrome trim here. I mean, it does have it here, but down there is satin silver. Door handles are color keyed. It does have the smart key, of course. The side mirrors, you have the repeaters here with the 360 camera. Yes, 360. One in front, one on each side mirror, and another one in the back. The ground clearance, they actually didn't put a number for the ground clearance, but still, it should be okay. But the opening, by extending the wheelbase a little bit, they made the opening a little bit bigger, which is going to be great for getting in and out. And this one does not have any floor mats. Now, the rear, new taillights here, LEDs, of course. It still does have the fake tailpipes, but at least they didn't chrome it. You do have ZS, ZS here, Hybrid Plus logo there, MG logo here. You cannot open this rear glass. I kind of miss it when cars had that, or at least SUVs had the rear glass that you can open independently, so you can just, plonk your stuff inside the trunk. But anyways, we pop open the tailgate, and what you'll notice is that this one does not have a power open mechanism, so it's still a manual one, but still not too bad. Gas assisted there with a parcel shelf here, which is kind of firm. Now, the dimensions here, it's about 34 inches from here to there, about 40 inches wide at the narrowest point. It has a little bit more there, with little pockets here, but it does have a 60/40 rear seat. I mean, here, when you fold it down, 60/40, it's almost flat, close enough. I did wish they kind of made this a bit more like taut, this part here, because it's kind of wrinkled, but minor things. When you do that, goes up to around 59 inches in overall length. And height, if we remove the parcel shelf, is about 30 inches more or less. With the tonneau, with the parcel shelf here, it's about 17.5 thereabouts. But still, it's a good and sizable trunk. What we will show you though, is that here, you'll see the 12-volt battery, because all of the other systems in a car are still 12 volts, all your lights, all your stuff. So that's why you have a 12-volt battery here in the trunk. And that's because also there is no more space in the front because of the hybrid system. So they put it there, which means that it does not have a spare tire. You do have a tire repair kit, early warning device, all of that stuff. But personally, I still prefer having a spare tire. It just makes it easy overall. How did I do with that one take? Pretty good. Anyways, let's check out what's inside. So if you've been inside the previous generation MG ZS, then makikita nyo, it's a huge upgrade compared to that. Now, what they've done is they've reworked the entire design to conform to some of the other models in the MG lineup. Like if you've been inside the MG4 or the MG1, this kind of aesthetic is gonna be quite familiar. Now, what do they have here? They have 4 vents up there on top, which look really cool. And then it's soft touch up here, soft touch there, even on the door cards, except for this top part, but it's all a lot of soft touch material, which gives it that upscale feel, which is what MG is always going for. And then you have dual screens. So you have this screen here in front is actually smaller than what it looks like, because the part on the right and the left and on the right, those are actually just backlit displays, and then you have an actual LED screen or LCD screen, whatever that is. There in the middle, I think it's about probably around 7 inches thereabouts. And then you have this larger screen here, which houses a lot of your functions. More on that in a bit. You have some buttons over here with your hazard over there, master switch for the AC, volume control there. A tray here, which is actually quite neatly placed, with a 12-volt outlet USB port for the Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, the wired kind, not the wireless kind. Another USB-C port over there. And then you have this transmission control, which it kind of reminds me of Audi in how wide it is and how it looks. And it does feel good when you pull it and you push it, and then to put it into park, you do that. And by the way, when you put it into reverse, the 360 camera comes up, and the rear view camera as well in that bigger part of the screen. Your ignition or start-stop button right here, it's square, which looks nice. And then you have the electronic parking brake. It does have auto brake hold, but you access it through the screen. And then your different drive modes for the vehicle over here. There is there is a dual cup holder here, which it's kind of narrow for a dual cup holder. And that's what I noticed about the vehicle. It actually lacks cup holders, personally speaking anyway. I wish I had cup holders there. This one is kind of 1.5 cup holders, because unless you have like really small drinks, it's not really gonna fit 2. But you can adjust it whichever way you want, but it's either just small or smaller, that kind of thing. There is a pocket over here, a compartment there, and then you have this glove compartment with a tray up here. So it's pretty functional. Up top we have a rear view mirror, which does look nice and it doesn't make me dizzy, which is good. Light. This SOS, I'm not sure if they're going to retain this for this spec, because this model we're driving is not 100% the Philippine spec. More on that later. It also applies to up here. The Philippine spec model will have a light. This one does not have a light. Right. So, anyways, this tray here, where my phone is, this is not a wireless charger actually. This is just a pad, which kind of defeats the purpose. I mean, if you, not that I use a wireless charger a lot, but if you're gonna put it here, then might as well have a wireless charging pad on there. But whatever the case. And anyways, it doesn't even have wireless Apple CarPlay or wireless Android Auto. It's still the wired kind. So right now my Android is plugged in. So I press that. There's your Android Auto over there, which is pretty much standard. And the clarity, it's a huge upgrade from the previous model, I have to say, because the previous model had a different one. It's kind of tough to describe. I'm trying to remember what it looks like, but this is a big change from the predecessor model, because it seems faster, clearer, all the things you would expect from a next generation model. Now, when we go through some of the features here, first of all, you have navigation here, but this one is not functional because there's no map loaded into it. This is your audio system. Here's your AC. This, by the way, I think is a drawback here. This is the only way to control the AC is to go to this screen, so you can access that. So keep that in mind. In this vehicle, you have to press the home button to be able to go back to the home screen to access this. I'm not really sure if there's a quick way to adjust it. I mean, there's not like what BYD does. They have the 3-finger rule. I'm trying to swipe down. There's no, whoop. Oh, there it is. There's a swipe down there, but it doesn't give you the AC controls. So anyways, up, nope, none there. And then your app connect over here. And then here you have the different widgets for the different, or the icons for the different features of the vehicle. Climate radio, music, USB video, not that we're gonna use that. The 360 camera, I'll show you that now. You can see there the different views. The one door is open, of course, but if you choose that, it'll show you that. Rear, side, front, pretty standard stuff. The vehicle here, this is how you adjust a lot of the settings of the vehicle. So for example, I mentioned this one doesn't have auto brake hold. Auto hold is right there. Hill descent control, HDC. Then your stability control, don't turn it off unless you really want to. The energy regeneration for the hybrid system, you can control it here. And turning on and off the passenger airbag if you have a child seat mounted here. But normally people mount the child seat over there in the back. The MG Pilot, these are the adaptive, smart driving functions of the vehicle. So you have the adaptive cruise control, the intelligent cruise assist. So it works by assisting the driver, all that stuff. overspeed alert. It does have the ability to read the traffic sign, meaning the speed limit sign. So it'll flash you that on this screen. There are plenty of these kinds of features, front collision, AEB, all that stuff is part of the system. So if you want to have them all on, you access it through here. Now, let's go to how the vehicle feels. Like for example, the steering wheel, it's kind of a hexagonal steering wheel, or at least flat bottom and flat top, which is very sporty. If you've been inside the MG1, it's very similar. Then you have your cruise control buttons accessible here on the left side. And on the right side, you have the controls to be able to go through the screens here, the displays here, that kind of thing. You can also switch between this or this by pressing this button. So it allows you to adjust that. The screen in front, it does look pretty good. I do wish they updated the fonts. It looks a bit basic for me. So maybe they could have done something a bit different with that, but it is what it is. The buttons all feel like very, very good quality, actually. I mean, when you pull the mirrors, it feels like a step up as well. I mean, compared to what it was before. And that's, I think, the general theme with this vehicle. A lot of the things they can improve, they did improve. But one thing I will tell you about later, once I'm driving, is how the driving position feels. Feels a little different compared to some of the other vehicles that we normally drive. Same with the back seat. The back seat is very, very cushioned. It's very soft, but hey, nice and fairly spacious in there for a small vehicle. But don't expect to be able to cross your legs or that kind of thing, because this is very much a small, very small crossover. But it's trying to generate as much space as possible by being clever with the positioning and the orientation of the seat. Anyways, enough talking. Let's get to some driving. So the first question about the MG ZS Hybrid is, matipid ba ito? And the answer to that is yes. Because that's what the hybrid is supposed to be. The hybrid system of this one, it works by operating the electric motor, as in any hybrid, operating the electric motor as much as possible, particularly in city speeds. Meaning, itong traffic na to, nakatigil ka. For example, right now, 0 RPM, the AC is working. Which is nice. Some of the other mild hybrids, the AC cuts out because it's only a belt starter generator type of thing. But in a full proper hybrid, the AC will all work. I mean, I'll put it up now a bit. It's a bit warm. The AC will work while the engine is off, because the electrical system does a lot of the work in this one. So that's the great thing. So even when you're sitting here, you're not consuming any fuel until the engine comes on, because it detects that the battery capacity or the battery charge or state of charge, SOC, is low. So right now I can just sit here comfortably and all that. Once you set it to 20 degrees, it should be okay for the duration. But the best thing is that once you're accelerating from a standstill, the motor does most of the work. And a motor has more torque than a gasoline engine at low RPMs, meaning we're talking like 0 to maybe 1,000 RPM. When you're driving here, just cruising along, the engine is now running. It's doing 1,300 RPM. I'm just cruising. It's trying to charge the whole system up. But it's going to be the motor still running and the engine just charging. If you notice, or at least, well, you can't notice, but when I step on the accelerator, let's get out of this lane a bit. When I step on the accelerator while I'm cruising here, the RPM actually doesn't change. Like normally when you step on the accelerator in a gas car, the RPM changes depending on your throttle pressure. Here, while driving in the hybrid or electric mode, it doesn't. The engine is just charging the battery. So right now, now the gas engine is doing a bit more of the driving. So now it varies a bit more, but it is very efficient. So in this kind of driving, like I said, 16.7. At average speed of about 15 kilometers per hour. Once the speed goes up a little bit, we're talking about fuel economy in the range of 18.5, which is also good. And on the highway, since the engine is going to be working a bit more, the fuel economy goes up a little bit, but not by too much. It goes up to around 22 kilometers per liter. It all just depends on how you're driving and what mode you're in. And right now we are in eco mode, so the response, not great. But watch this when I press a normal mode. So normal mode, it kind of pushes my head back, because as I'm keeping my foot steady on the throttle, it unlocks a bit more of the power and the response. And then when I put it to sport mode, here, yeah, you can feel it surge, jump forward a little bit or lurch forward a little bit as you go through the modes if you're keeping your throttle pressure steady. So that's something with this vehicle that I found to be quite interesting. And then when it comes to the handling, it's not going to be that great. I mean, we're not expecting great handling out of MG, to be honest, particularly in a vehicle like a ZS. But it does well. I mean, if you want to go around the mountains, you're just not going to be able to do it like some of the other sportier crossovers that are way more expensive than this. So just keep that in mind. Where it does excel is in the comfort. You know, if you notice, well, we're on a newer patch of EDSA right now. Let's wait for the rougher part here. Feel this is rougher asphalt. It's doing well. Like when it's going over these ruts and bumps, here, we're now on concrete. The noise is quite good. I mean, meaning the noise suppression in the vehicle is quite good. It's not noisy. It's not crashy. The suspension, I think they really did upgrade what they do with the suspension. Here, I'll go over the cat's eyes. Here. Listen to this. I'm intentionally driving over the reflectors on the road, so we can just kind of. It's actually good. You know, some of the older Chinese cars, it'll be noisy and crashy inside, and that's something they've really leveled up here. But I think the biggest level up that MG had, well, for one, is also the power. This is a very powerful hybrid for its size. So, you know, like you put it into sport mode, it's really got power. It's got punch. Some of the other ZS models I drove before, even the ZST, the turbo, the lag was so long that, you know, you had to wait for immigration to clear you before it gives you any acceleration. But this one, no, it's instant, which I like, especially in sport mode, very fun. But where I think MG really leveled up is with the interior quality and the build of the entire structure. Now, what makes me say that? In previous generations of MG, the ZS, and also the SAIC-made Volkswagens, you know, like Lamando, La Vida, all those vehicles, even the T-Cross, when you approach a hump or a ramp, like for example, in my house, I have a quite steep ramp to get into the garage. If you approach it at an angle, you can feel and hear the body twisting, and you can feel and hear the interior panels, like the trim on the dashboard rubbing up against each other, making all kinds of squeaky noises, like a lot. You know, this one, no. Like they've really leveled it up in that sense, because going over a lot of those like ramps and humps and whatever, there's no squeaking. It feels solidly built here. Like, just, yeah, it feels good. It feels really good to drive and to just cruise here on EDSA. Again, EDSA, usually a lot of the older Chinese vehicles, like when you drive it here, noisy, crashy. I mean, nothing you can do about the tire noise. I mean, listen to that. We're doing 40 kilometers per hour. It's actually quite well. I mean, it's doing quite well. So, which is what we want. We want it to feel like quality, even though we are technically in the budget car class. So they really set that up, even like with the panels here, the center console, by the way, where my phone is with the fake wireless charging pad, it's actually rock solid. You can't move it. You can't make it squeak, which is good. Of course, we can't speak to the long term of the car because we only have it for a short period of time. But the initial quality of the vehicle is impressive. You know, so from the showroom floor, it's really going to impress you. And hopefully, when you actually like own it and drive it long term, it's going to deliver on that same kind of quality, on that same kind of promise of having a durable vehicle. Because people want, like, even though it's the budget car class, people want to have a quality vehicle that's going to last. You know, and this one, based on the interior quality alone, it seems like it will. Here, let me go over the steel plate on EDSA. It feels solid. It's really good. And it shows the big step up from the previous generation ZS, which was first launched in 2016, 15 in China. And then in the Philippines, it was launched in 2018. So by the time they launched it here, it was already a couple of years old. So it's the jump from that one to this one here. Steel plate, it feels solid. It feels good. So the jump from the previous generation to this one is huge in terms of quality, and which is, I think, more important than having all the ADAS features, which this one does have. The adaptive cruise control, it does work well. Same with the traffic sign recognition. Like right now, it's reading 60 because it read the 60 kilometer per hour sign over there. So those are just some of the things. I'm going over all the steel plates and EDSA. I hope I don't get a flat, because that's one drawback here. I think it has a tire repair kit instead of a spare tire, right? I'll double check that. But when it comes to the overall quality, that's the one that I really look forward to in any vehicle that I drive. And I think it's something I give way more weight to than ADAS and all the fancy features in the vehicle. But one thing that I do want to note is that this is, of course, like I mentioned, not a full Philippine or the final PH spec. So the PH spec will have the panoramic sunroof. I know a lot of you guys want that panoramic glass roof. Me, I could do without it, especially in a vehicle with an interior that is predominantly black. As someone who wears dark colors, all the time, like what does it feel like to walk around in the sunlight with darker clothes? And they'll tell you it's warmer than white. So that's just the way it is. Same with car interiors, because darker colors absorb more light. Some of the other changes here, from this dual zone to a single zone AC, which is kind of weird. But what I think is, like, one thing they should retain is the horn, because from what I understand, they're gonna downgrade the horn of this. Because listen to this. I mean, for as a small car, the horn of this one is really good. Some of the other models we try, in this class, the horn is like meep, meep. Like, what's that? Give it a proper horn, man. Let's go, guys. Yeah, let's go. So anyways, that's the thing with this vehicle. It has a very aggressive horn. Maybe that's why they're gonna change it out, prevent you from getting into fights. Sorry. After spending some time with the new ZS, I've actually been really impressed. Like I mentioned when I was driving, a lot of the SAIC models that I've driven in the past have been a bit hit or miss, or at least there's always something that I found that kind of turned me off a bit to it, particularly when it comes to the basically body rigidity and the way they use the plastics. But this new generation ZS, it's gonna take me a while to get used to that. But this new ZS, it's showing me that they can do it. They've really leveled up in the last 8 years to give us something that it feels quality built. Yes, there are going to be some niggles on it. I'm sure somewhere along the line we'll find something. But as it stands from the showroom floor, it's an impressively built vehicle. It drives pretty well. It's comfortable. It's efficient. The interior refinement is a lot better. The quality is a lot better. And there are no more squeaks and rattling and all that stuff that we used to experience before in a lot of SAIC products. And that is why I think this is going to be... Okay, let me interrupt past Vince again, because we now have the full pricing of the MG ZS range. And I think it's quite interesting. So the ZS hybrid now starts at, well, actually not really starts, it is at 1,328,888 pesos. Yes, MG does all that. But what they're doing is a series of discounts, an intro discount for the vehicle. So the discount that they're going to go for is 50,000, which brings it down to 1,278,888. But they've added another 30, which brings it down to 1,248,888. So 1,248,888 pesos for the ZS hybrid. Not the final spec that we had there. You know how it is. It's kind of all changed. Now, you may be wondering, why are they discounting right away? It's like so brand new. Well, the reason is when they launched it, the BYD Sea Lion 5 was just launched maybe about a week ago. And that presents a problem because again, naunahan sila. I mean, which is strange because the ZS hybrid was previewed at MIAS in April, but now they're only launching it in July, which, if you know what happened last week, the Sea Lion 5 was launched and it's at 1,198,000 1,000 pesos with the intro price at full cash. Meaning if you pay cash, that's the price that you get. But now because, yeah, naunahan sila, they have to try to get close to it, otherwise it just won't be competitive. And even then, when you compare it, a regular hybrid versus a plug-in hybrid, I mean, make your choice. You can charge one up, it has a bigger battery and all that stuff. The ZS, you cannot. So suddenly it became uncompetitive, and when you look at it spec for spec, it doesn't seem as impressive as the Sea Lion 5. They really should have brought the launch of this vehicle much sooner, closer to the preview that they did in MIAS. But it seems MG likes to do these preview at the motor show and then a long gestation period until your launch, which kind of defeats the purpose because all the hype of it suddenly just goes out the window, goes stale. And that seems to be the case here, at least for the hybrid. But where they're really banking on is going to be with the non-hybrid variants. So the non-hybrid variants, so we have the 1.5 turbo, right? The CVT Sport, I can tell you the price now. After all those discounts, it's at 1,148,888 pesos. Again, it's all the discounts for the intro price that they're going for. They like to go for intro prices. Then you have the 1.5 CVT Lux, which is at 1,048,888 pesos, which is also really good. And then you have the 1.5 liter, the CVT, the Comfort variant, the COM, which is the most budget-oriented model of the MG ZS, which is at 908,888. That's the intro price, which if you know your pricing of the MGs, those are actually pretty good because the current, I think right now for the ZS, the most affordable ZS variant of the previous generation is at 898, just under 900,000. So it's not nicely situated there. So in terms of affordability, we think it's still going to be a good capturing the market with its pricing for the more budget-oriented variants. And it keeps the tradition of, you get a SUV for the price of a Vios, or, less than the price of a high-spec Vios. Anyways, guys, that's it. I won't hand it off to past Vince anymore. We'll cut the video here. Let me know in the comments below what you think of the entire range of the MG ZS, because the pricing of the non-hybrids are pretty good. The hybrid kind of, against the Sea Lion 5 and some of the other hybrids that we know are coming, it's not there yet. They really should have brought it in much sooner. See you on the next one. And I'm here in Portugal for doing another video. So you may be wondering why I'm in a hotel room. I'm in another country for another review. So catch you later.